And you just alluded to the challenges of the package itself and the appetite for efficiency, making I think you said like things that make a sponsor's life easier. And when you say that, I know you're talking more specifically about a CMC package author's life.
Can't
Now
do
again,
anything about the clinical results, but
yeah. But there again, like if we fast forward and be presumptive, like fast forward way into the future, futurists talk about tools like artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning algorithms playing significant roles in the writing process itself. And I mean, Chat GPT is like in the mainstream news these days.
It's entertaining.
It's entertaining, I know. What are your thoughts on the potential short-term benefits and long-term realities of the impact of technologies like that on the package writing process?
Yeah, no, thanks. And I do have a fair amount to say about that, but I'll try to keep it brief. Until recently, a lot of companies relied on the concept of what's called structured authoring, where the structure of a document and what content goes into each section is kind of predefined. And some of the regulatory people say, well, that's sort of like a regulatory template or a core dossier template, something like this. But this really hasn't had much of an impact or been widely embraced, because what's happened is there's been so many mergers and acquisitions that you end up with a whole blend of reports, sometimes at a company, in a million different formats. So we have to harmonize things. And, what's the wave of the future? Companies are starting to look at the idea of using AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning for regulatory writing situations. It's called automated regulatory writing. Mm-hmm. And in general terms, we know that AI can produce huge amounts of data and manipulate information, but it also has the ability to interpret contextual information and use a technology called natural language processing, or NLP, to combine phrases and statements that basically understand a user's commands or decision trees. And if you take that and you combine it with some writing rules, then that allows sponsors to use an AI-driven process to generate quality sections for regulatory dossier. Now, there's you can have a whole conversation on the nuances and the different types of things involved with this, but it's important to remember this. AI is composed, or basically the processes that AI is composed of are two different types of learning. You've got machine learning, and then you've got what's called deep learning. And machine learning is a kind of AI that's focused on systems that can learn and change when exposed to new data without being programmed. And it basically allows, a program to find patterns in large data sets and then use those patterns to make predictions about data. And deep learning, which is a whole different ballgame, which functions more like a human brain, is a broader part of a broader family of machine learning methods. And basically, in a nutshell, deep learning is best for using for data analysis that's unstructured or has a complex structure like images or text. Mm-hmm. And you can use machine learning when you need to interpret structured data, that can easily be labeled, like tabular data, stability tables and things like that. Yeah. So from a regulatory perspective, you need to have a good software package, and there are a lot of them out there, but you need to have one that definitely is capable of machine learning and deep learning, or flip-flopping back and forth these two things in order to put together, a regulatory submission. And that is going to be a tremendous boon to the regulatory writing process in assembling CMC submissions packages. So yeah. Look for AI to have a major impact in the coming years.
So you're pragmatic and bullish on it. You know, I happen to write some content as a major part of my job as well. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, there are times where I fear that my job's going to be taken over by. I mean, you don't fear that your job as a CMC author is going to be taken over by a deep learning algorithm. Not by the time you retire, anyway.
Oh, no. You know, the thing about this is that these algorithms are only as good as the people that write and design them.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a human element or human component that's involved in looking at the document draft and really interpreting that information in the context of the messaging and content that the sponsor needs to convey to the health authority. So it's fine if you want to have a machine put together some proposed text that gives you a good starting point there, but there's always going to be, the vast knowledge and intuition that a person has that's needed to refine and improve whatever text the AI process, the AI software just sort of spits up as a starting point for you.
Sure. Well stated.
At least I think. We'll see. We'll see if the chat GPT takes over our lives.
Well, guys, I'm abusing your time at this point, and I know we didn't get to everything, and I apologize for that. I have, I've in the past I've made stated claims while live that we're going to do a part 2 to catch up on all the things that we missed, because we could easily do a part 2 and probably a part 3. So go ahead and hold me to that if you guys are game. I'd like to come back and get back into some of the details. There are some audience questions we didn't get to. I will share those audience questions with our panelists, and if they have a free minute in between all the work that they're doing and can follow up, that'd be terrific. We'll do our best to follow up as well. Excuse me. But I want to thank you guys for spending the time with us, for fielding so many unexpected questions from the audience. And give you an opportunity to any kind of pithy last minute quick pieces of advice. Blair, I'll start with you, like on the PD side, maybe for folks that are coming up in the way.
Really, it's just really understand the molecule you're working with and look to end in mind. What are you trying to develop, and have that help drive your process development. Ultimately, you need to make a process that's going to be manufacturable. So you need to really work on that, and then collect the data and understand your data as it comes out.
Yep. And then Brian, as far as the translation of that, final nuggets of wisdom as far as the translation of that to regulatory submissions.
Yeah, I would say to the regulatory folks in the audience, don't be afraid of new technologies. Learn to embrace them, because ultimately they're not only going to make your life easier as a regulatory affairs professional, but that type of deep machine learning and intuition will eventually result in a successful outcome in improving the safety and quality of life of the patients benefiting from the drug products. So embrace the technology. Don't be afraid.
All right. Dr. Kirk, Dr. McNeill, thanks again. Thanks to both of you for joining us.
It was our pleasure. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks also to thanks also to our audience for hanging in as long as you have, especially those of you who posed such great questions. Huge thanks to Integris for supporting today's program. Reminder, March 28th, join Anna Rose Welch for future-proofing mRNA drug manufacturing, 11 a.m. EST, Tuesday, March 28th. You can register for that right here before you log out. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great week.